What up everyone, True Blue here, and I've been recently playing a lot of LEGO games. I'm a big fan of LEGO. I grew up playing with LEGOs, of course, and LEGO video games have always been very special to me in my heart, as it's been fun taking these franchises that you can obviously play games of, but play them in a LEGO form with this much more fun, laid-back system. Like, it's very kid-friendly, of course, but it's also very relaxing. The puzzles are fun. They're very fun to 100%. Like, I'm just a big fan of them. And I have a ton of games, and what I have is LEGO Dimensions. Now, LEGO Dimensions has a ton of properties in it, and a lot of which I feel like could have their own games that people would love. There is one in particular that started as LEGO Dimensions, became LEGO Sets, and I'm surprised has not been greenlit as a full-on LEGO game project. That is LEGO Sonic the Hedgehog. LEGO Sonic originally started as a LEGO Dimensions IP. Well, it was its own IP, of course, but like in LEGO form, it had a level pack. You had a ton of characters, and then eventually it got moved to full-on proper LEGO sets with that original minifigure archetype being used to create Tails, Shadow, Knuckles, the whole cast. And as of most recently, we're still getting sets, of course, but in Sonic Superstars, there were skins based off of the LEGO minifigures. So there's still a very tight connection between LEGO and Sega. So I'm surprised TT Games never once was like, hey, can we make a LEGO Sonic game? So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm going to be talking about kind of my experience a bit with LEGO Dimensions and how they incorporated Sonic into it, and then how I feel like they could incorporate the rest of Sonic's friends, mechanics, all of that into a full-on LEGO package game. If you want to see me make even more games, talk even more about Sonic or other franchises, let me know in the comments below, or show your love by liking the video and subscribing. Helps the channel a ton. I'm trying to reach 700. I believe that's what I'm currently going for. So yeah. Anyway, on with the video. Now, LEGO games typically follow very similar formats. Until recently. A lot of games recently I have not played, but there was a big sale recently. So I got some of the more recent ones, the big Star Wars one, Batman 4, which is DC supervillains, the Ninjago movie game, that's a bit older. But they all have very unique styles of gameplay, where they're a lot more open world. DC supervillains is more traditional, but the levels are very long, very, very long. Like, there's a lot of uniqueness now to the LEGO games, as before they've followed very similar formats, just kind of different skins. So how do I think they would approach a LEGO Sonic? For one, a main story which is unique to the game. They could I could see going to LEGO Dimensions route, where they take a lot of elements from past entries, a lot of references, callbacks, but it's still a unique story with Sonic and friends stopping Dr. Eggman, potentially a new villain. I could see the story going where Dr. Eggman kind of finds something, I guess, LEGO related, that ends up becoming the big bad at the end that he has to team up with Sonic for. Or it's more so another collection of like history-based things. They could take kind of the Sonic Generations approach. Whatever the case, I see it being something along those lines, to kind of cover more of the franchise instead of making completely new things. In the open world, I could see them taking kind of smaller open worlds, but they're still very big, spacious, so you can run around, because obviously all your characters are going to be zooming around going fast for the most part. So you need big worlds to accommodate that. And the stages, I think it's fine if they're standard stages. I don't think they need to be as big and luxurious. I don't see them taking the open world approach they have with other games, where it's kind of the stories incorporated directly into the worlds themselves. I see the levels being independent mini kits, red bricks, gold bricks, whatever, probably shaped like emeralds for fun. The big thing for me is really just that story mode would be independent, and it would be just how you unlock, your main cast, etc. The big thing would be extra stages. You have your main story, but then there's extra stages which are kind of like highlights of Sonic's best moments. Maybe you have one based off of Sonic Riders, based off of the Storybook series, based off of the adventure games. Throughout the open world, you could have these bonus stages based off of past entries, and that would be a big kind of thing. It'd be ways to get more characters that are probably exclusive to those games, as well as skins. The thing for me, compared to a lot of other franchises that LEGO's done, is the lack of modeling. It's texturing in gaming terms, because all LEGO games have a minifigure, the standard LEGO character, and then they could just get different different textures, different faces, different colors, whatever, to make the different characters and just add the powers and abilities. That's why the character creators in more recent games are just so complex. The thing with Sonic, especially with the LEGO minifigures, is the uniqueness among the character sculpts and the heads. So it's more difficult because they now have to go about creating more of these unique pieces in order to properly attribute the rest of the characters. So that's more work on their part. That's why I think it'd be a good idea to have lots of variety with skins. You can have Sonic with different costumes, like with the goggles from the Extreme Gear, him with armor from Excalibur, him with, I guess you could maybe just recolor it and call it the Werehog. Like, a lot of little things like that would go a long way and sort of padding out the roster, because there's only so much you could do that doesn't require so much extra work. But because it's Sonic, I do also see them going that extra mile and creating tons of unique modeling things. And a lot of LEGO games do have that, it's just to a lesser scale, because it's more so like the helmet pieces or whatnot, and then those are thrown in the character customizer. Like, I see it being very much a more daunting challenge than usual, but something they could still very well do. On top of that, they do have all the stuff they worked on for LEGO Dimensions that they could reuse as well, so that saves a lot on assets. The big thing with the character roster for me is you have so much to take from. Take it all. Go big or go home is my thing, right? You have the main cast. You have costumes for the cast you could use. You could have different things like Eggman's standard minifigure design, and then maybe his LEGO Dimensions styled one where he's more of a unique big thing. You could have Supersonic be a separate thing instead of a form. You could have all this, Hyper Knuckles, Tails, whatever. You could have the Hypersonic as well. Characters with different designs over the years. Rouge's Dominatrix outfit from Heroes, Amy's original design, all those, again, as I previously stated, all those other characters that have shown up in certain entries. You have tons of villains, of course, like the Zeddy, maybe playable versions of like Orbot, Cubot, the Egg Pawns, whatever. I also see them going with the LEGO The Incredibles approach, where in the open world you can unlock various characters from other IP. Specifically, in this case, with Sega IP, I could definitely see them throwing in Joker, because he's just everything Sega does now. Joker, you could take characters from like more classic properties like Knights or Rise Star or whatever. Like, I see that being a possibility as well. I don't know if they would actually do a character creator, because I know the last few games they released, I don't think have them, to my knowledge, so they might not do a character creator, which is a shame. I always thought that was a fun little side mode in LEGO games, but if we don't get it, it's understandable in this case. The character roster, I see it being huge. All the characters would be very samey in this case, because a lot of them don't really have unique properties to them, unfortunately, but they could go all out with that. And on top of that, the vehicles. My god, there's no need for vehicles in this game. Generally, there isn't, but every LEGO game has vehicles, regardless if they're necessary or needed. So, you have the planes, all of Tails' and Eggman's inventions, stuff from the racing games. Like, you could take all of it. Again, go for it. Also, the comics, if they don't take advantage of the extensive list of comic characters, exclusive costumes, and forms or whatnot, it would be such a shame. At the very least, a DLC wave, or like a pack with a ton of those comic exclusive characters, like that is something we need desperately. Again, massive character roster. I see all of Sonic's friends being playable in some way, shape, or form. If it's only post-game in your open free world, or if it's throughout the levels, or those bonus levels, that is a must also. I do see them. I know older LEGO games had it, like LEGO Marvel Superheroes. You had your main story, and then you had a ton of extra side levels with some specific comic characters. That is what I see them doing here in this case, where you have your main story and then those bonus levels. Now, from a gameplay front, again, I do see it going with how LEGO Dimensions kind of handled it, where it's a more linear structure with a bit of exploration still, only because it's hard to really take Sonic's main gameplay and make it fully LEGO, It'd also be weird to take a LEGO game where it's much more of a puzzle platformer, a very kind of slow, mundane sort of feeling, and adding Sonic speed to it. The two don't necessarily mesh, so you have to find a good balance, and I think LEGO Dimensions did a good job of that, where it's much more fast-paced, and the puzzles and or like exploration is kept to a very minimum. While it is a shame from a design front, I do see them maybe adding some form of time attack, or a score-based system where you need to go fast. So while you can explore like a traditional Lego game, to get some of the gold bricks in this case, you would need to be able to play fast with your characters and be good at the game. I do see them keeping the standard live system for Legos. I know some people thought, like in Lego Dimensions case, when that came out, that it would be kind of one hit, which it doesn't matter. Lego games are so low stakes that I don't see them making a one-hit system just to constantly be respawning. Like, keeping a few hits is fine. Maybe some characters would die quicker. Like Sonic maybe takes damage in water or something. Like, they could take a few extra liberties, but I see them keeping the standard live system intact. The music selection. Lego games don't necessarily have the best or craziest soundtracks, but because we're working with Sonic here, I think it'd be fun to take tons of remixes or Lego composed versions. Like, the team composes new versions of classics, like the Green Hill Zone theme, to play during that stage in that course. That would be a fun thing. I don't see the music being too big of a deal in this case. This is the one Sonic game where music isn't the forefront or important. Again, Lego games are more so for the fun of the levels and these characters. Like, it's a fun way to approach a franchise, so I don't want them to kind of try making something new with it, if that makes any sense. And I do see them having a fun moveset customization, sort of. More so, I see them having Sonic's full arsenal. You have your homing attacks, you have your dashes, you have a slide. Like, I see them taking kind of what they did with the Skywalker saga and having such diverse forms of your movement options and characters and applying that to Sonic and his cast of characters, especially since in previous games we've had them split up before. Like, Sonic Heroes had your speed, your power, and your flying. I could see that being sort of how they approach it, where different characters would have different sets of properties. Maybe like you have Eggman with a specific one, your robots with one, characters that maybe go fast. Like, you could go with that approach again, and I think it fully work with your character system in Lego. Again, that's what I'm saying before, where I don't see them having like a character customizer. And for the open world, I did previously say I see them doing smaller ones to kind of cover more areas. Again, I could see them going with a generations approach where it's kind of all interconnected, sort of how they did it with Lego Dimensions, but on a grander scale. Or what I think would be a smarter idea would be smaller, still wide, maybe a bit more barren and open so you could run around more. But it would be different areas, maybe you start off in Green Hill, then you go to like a city area to cover all of those games that are like just in human places. Then maybe you go to Radical Highway because that's always there. Stuff like that. I see it being more, here's specific things, or another thing they could do is kind of go how like the movie did it, where it's kind of just all there and we don't really question it. Maybe it's like a big city, like adventure, and then Radical Highway's just in that city. And then maybe to the side there's like a park and that's Green Hill. And maybe if you explore underground, you find like the Mystic Ruins. Stuff like that. I'm not too concerned about the open world, because open worlds are always been fun. And I think they'll do a good job of it in that case, especially if it's the same standard dev team for Lego games. But it's just fun notes to take down and stuff to think about when you're thinking of the grand final product at the end of the day. The big thing for me as well would also be some form of extra collectible, as in the Chaos Emeralds. I see them being a big extra part where it's kind of like standard Sonic games. There is a final, like extra final boss, extra final level, and the Chaos Emeralds will be separate, where maybe they're very well hidden in stages, like red bricks and all that, and you need to work to find them. Like, you'll have to go in free play and find them or something. And then you get the true ending or whatever. Little things like that. Give it the Sonic touch, but the Lego touch. And overall, it's very easy to think about where a Lego Sonic game could go. But the thing is also the formula of Lego games. They technically always follow a root standard story. And this is the one time I see them diverging from it. Only because you could retell Sonic's history as much as you want, but is that what we want? Because unlike all of those other franchises, Sonic's a video game. And it's the uniqueness of doing a Sonic Lego game. You're competing with the franchise itself. You're not turning Pirates of the Caribbean, Indiana Jones, these movies into fun puzzle platforms. You are now taking a game and just Legofying it. So that's why it has to be unique in its own right, because then why would people want that if not just play the original? That's the issue with making any Lego video game from a video game based IP. It's the main reason I don't see them ever doing a Lego Mario, only because it feels like that formula fits more with a Lego game than Sonic does. So even if they did translate it more and even have proper minifigures, unlike the brick-built electronic messes that we currently have, it still wouldn't stand out as much as a normal Mario game. Sonic has that advantage in this case, as it not only already has shown its capabilities, but Sonic, I think, tends to just have more variety in gameplay and be more experimental, for better or worse. So this is one of those cases where we could get a fun extra package with the Sonic name attached and a new Lego game, which is very different from what we're used to. It's a fun thought experiment, and there's definitely a lot of ways to go about it. This is kind of just how I feel the dev team would go about it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe what's some fun approaches to the character roster? How would you like to see the abilities from Sonic be translated into this game? How would you like to see the emeralds handled? Again, I do think it'd be fun if gold bricks and red bricks were just special extra emeralds in this case. And overall, what you would actually want to experience, like if you were given the chance to play a Lego Sonic game, what would you want out of it? And that's for people who have or haven't played Lego Dimensions and the Sonic level. I had a fun time playing it, but I know some people maybe didn't, especially longtime Sonic fans, because it feels weird, especially if you've played like a lot of Sonic and then you play that, because some things work as they should, some things don't, because it's a Lego game, it's not Sonic. So I would love to hear all about that in the comments below, but that's all I got for you this week. Next time, who knows what I'll be talking about. If you do want to see me do a video on Lego Mario or another IP, again, let me know as well. Happy to do that. Subscribe, more stuff is on the way. With all that being said, I wish you all a lovely day.